All right, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about holistic approaches to cancer. And you are here at an event sponsored by the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. I'm Deb Martine. I'm the Vice President here in Fort Myers. And we have many people to thank. First of all, let's see, we've got Rosemary here from Unity. So I just want to say thank you for allowing us to be here. And if you want to come up in a minute and say a little bit about who you are, that would be great, who Unity is. And yeah, go ahead and come up now if you like. Unity is hosting this event.
Hi, I'm Rosemary. I'm a board member here at Unity of Fort Myers. I'm so happy to have you here, as we do every month for your events. Unity is an open spiritual community. You're all welcome to come if you want to and join us for a service on Sunday. We do teach from the Bible, but we're not Bible-based. We are open to all truths and all religions. So you might get the Bible and you might get Buddha. But we welcome you all here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Okay, and we have other people to thank as well. There is, of course, Lotus Blossom Clinic, which there's ample representation from today. Right over here, we'll be getting to that. But we do really believe in getting the message out. So Lotus Blossom Clinic is a backer of this. Zeta Global Radio, and that's Lainey Savante Wilkin, who is also the president of the Holistic Chamber here in Florida, in Southwest Florida. And let's see, we've got Muscle Tuners International, which has been supporting us from the very beginning with these events. So there's help with the marketing, for example, and getting the word out. So I think that's all of them to mention there. And I just wanted to kick this off by giving you some holistic ideas that are maybe out of the box from anything that you may have ever learned. And this is about dogs sniffing out cancer. So there was a study, which is actually not all that recent, but it was from 2006. It's from the University of California, Davis. So it was a real research study. It was published in the Journal of Integrative Cancer Therapies. And they used canine cancer detection with beagles. And they found they were able to identify lung cancer by sniffing blood samples. And they had about a 97% accuracy. Now, granted, these were trained beagles, okay? So maybe not every dog will have this ability. In fact, they had 4 beagles, and one just didn't really play along. His name was Snuggles, and he just wasn't all that interested. So every dog will be different. But these 4 beagles were trained to use scent to distinguish blood samples from people with lung cancer, and distinguish them from blood samples with people without cancer. Remember, this is like a 97% accuracy. Wow, that's probably, in fact, they say in the article that it's higher than typical needle biopsies would be. So that's interesting. Might save a lot of people from false positives. Dogs have been trained to detect both specific cancers as well as general cancer scent. So the bottom line on this really is that although you can't get this as a typical cancer detection method unless you're in a test, in a cancer study right now, that they found anecdotally that a lot of people have had their dogs identify cancer for them. So if you find your dog, or maybe even a cat, who knows, who's sniffing at a particular area on your body, really fascinated with sniffing your breath more than usual, these are things that might be worth checking out with an actual doctor in a regular setting, because they could be helping you find something. We love our pets, don't we? Okay. So today, we are really covering cancer as a serious health issue in our modern world. Statistics show that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 2 men will experience cancer sometime in their lives. Most of you here today have either experienced it yourself or have loved ones who have. And for some, it's a wake-up call. It gives people an additional opportunity in life to check in with who they are and what they're doing and what they're feeling. finding joy in their life purpose through perhaps a deep personal healing journey. For these people, from the storm, there can emerge a rainbow. And our panelists today have worked directly with people to help them find their best path through cancer. They've seen many come through to the other side and find their rainbows. Dr. David, Vicki, Amy, and Stephanie. Well, it's not Stephanie. He doesn't look much like Stephanie. We'll talk about that here in a moment. They're here to share. Yeah, they are here to share their insights, their health tips, guidance, and hope. They're here to answer your questions, give you the power to do more to prevent cancer, and to share with you how they use supportive, holistic care to help people through conventional treatments and to guide them in holistic ways that can also reverse diseases, including cancer. So I'm very grateful for this team up here. So let's go through the people we've got, and we will be having one of them do a little bit of introduction for himself. But first, Amy Rubicki. Amy is a transformational health and life coach. She specializes in helping busy women slow down, balance their busyness, make themselves a priority, and create calm out of their chaos. That's good. Sounds pretty good. I like that. Through her simply natural coaching business, she inspires her clients to define who they are and refine how they live to create the health and life they truly want. Because I know Amy, I can tell you she lives her principles and she manifests her dreams. She's kind and she has what I think of as a bright energy mind, which infuses her interactions with her clients. She's ready and able to help people through obstacles to achieve healthier, happier life experiences. Welcome, Amy. Welcome. Okay, sitting next to me is not Stephanie Rourke. This is James Rourke. Okay, and Stephanie was going to be up here talking, and she and her husband both have a wellness center together, the Living Vine Wellness Center. So maybe, Amy, could you hand that over to him? And James, I'll have you say a little piece about who you are and your background.
Okay. Well, I'd rather talk about Stephanie and her background. We have a family emergency in Texas, so that's where she's at. But her and I are a team. We have, like she said, a wellness clinic, and for 30 years, we've been working in the wellness industry and have helped hundreds and thousands of people over those 30 years. And so that's based. My wife is a naturopathic, has a degree of naturopathy. So she's the one here that I'm here to talk about more than anything. But her and I are a team.
Okay, and you will be covering some of the things that you know and that she was planning to speak to as well. So thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. To my left, Dr. David Martine. He completed dual degrees in mathematics and electronics engineering, and he worked in the corporate world for over 25 years before deciding to pursue his childhood dream of healing others. He trained in a Chinese-run school in Boulder, Colorado, which also brought in integrative medical training. That's Western medicine. He is a doctor of Oriental medicine and a board-certified licensed acupuncturist. In the state of Florida, he's referred to as an acupuncture physician. He's been practicing since 1998 and is the practice administrator at Lotus Blossom Clinic. It is a holistic, integrative wellness and event center. We have a lot of things going on in Fort Myers. Dr. Martine employs both ancient and modern practices, including acupuncture, acupressure, herbal, and remedies, as well as functional medicine. I see miracles happen every day at the clinic when I'm there. And I married him because he's an amazing and wise man. So, welcome my husband, Dr. David Martine. Okay. And Vicki Gilardi. She has been helping people heal for over 40 years using food. In the late 70s, she founded the Feingold Association of New York and testified before Congress about the health effects of the compounds and artificial coloring and preservatives in food. Her primary focus has been with children on the autism spectrum, including children with learning challenges. In 2014, she received her certification in Jeff Primack's Conquering Any Disease program. Today, she works directly with Dr. David Martine at Lotus Blossom Clinic to help patients implement his dietary guidelines for cancer, inflammatory conditions, diabetes, cardiovascular issues, autoimmune diseases, and more. Her rich background in food and psychology makes her a valuable aid to Dr. Martine. She's also intuitive, she's steadfast, and she's always ready to help. Welcome, Vicki. First of all, starting with Amy, how has your background prepared you to work with people in preventing cancer and/or assisting them through it?
Good question. I think my education and my training, particularly as a coach, enables me to be able to help people strategize how to implement things that are going to balance their life. I think particularly with cancer, it's a disease that may be lifestyle related, and so learning how to create new habits can be challenging for all of us. And having a coach that can support you and hold you accountable through the experience can make all the difference. I think also just having an emotionally balanced, being emotionally balanced through the whole process of battling cancer or healing from cancer takes support, and that's where a coach can also come in. So as a coach, I really specialize in helping people create habits that are going to be sustainable. So those habits can be something that are completely new, something you haven't done before. And that can be a little scary, a little daunting. And so it can really, having that support system can really help you create those habits and have them last so that you can become well.
Okay, cool. Anything more you would tell us about the training that you've received and just the things that brought you to doing this?
Yes. Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome.
A little coaching there. Well, I mean, I taught health and wellness for 30 years before I became a coach, so I was teaching people about nutrition and healthy habits, but a lot of it was information, and how to just implement that into your life is what I was really missing. So becoming a coach really gave me the skills to help people transform their lives, and I like to try to help people before they have an illness and really prevent them from getting sick. And that balance that you heard Deb introduce me about is really key, because stress is one of the number one things that causes all illnesses in our life. So creating balance in your life, and that could be balancing how you're eating or how you're living, saying no to things, saying yes to other things. So all those things can contribute to it. But really creating a wellness lifestyle is key to healing and to preventing the diseases.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and James, so tell us a little bit about your background and/or Stephanie's background.
And/or Stephanie's background. Well, our journey is really parallel with each other. 30 years ago, we opened up a health food store in Texas and started on this journey. And the more time we spent on working with us, we started out thinking maybe 20% is emotionally related. And then as the last 30 years have gone by, it's changed from 20 to 50 to 60 to 80 to 90, the more information we received. And my wife really started this journey 12 years ago in studying emotions or emotional connection to all diseases. And we make a great team. I do the physical aspect, and then she takes care of the emotional side of it. And as you know, holistic healing is mind, body, and spirit. So it's not just one aspect. It's treating, like you said. And boy, that was excellent what you said. It's like, this is someone I would recommend. If someone came into our facilities, I would say, okay, look, I can work with you on the physical, but you need to go see someone that can work with your lifestyle and work with the whole picture. And stress, I agree 100%, is really major. So I don't know if I swayed off the questions, but I got an excuse.
Well,
I'm talking for Stephanie.
Yeah. So I think we have an idea about how you go through and what your background is, and you are using the emotion code techniques. You're using What is the other treatment modality that you're using?
On the emotional aspect, we've got two tools that we use. We really love the Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley. And it's really phenomenal in getting straight to the point very quickly and dealing with the issue very quickly. The other tool we use is called Evox, which is from Zydo. And Evox is a device that we use that actually records your voice and determines the emotion that's attached to a subject, topic, person, or an event. And then through a paradigm shift and outputs of frequencies can actually do what we call a perception reframing. So those are the two main tools that she uses on the emotional side of it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so, well, Dr. David, you've got 23 years of experience. What would you like to tell these people to help them understand your background and how that brings you to this panel?
Well, my background is, started a long time ago. I've been seeing so many patients over the years that have had cancer or currently have cancer, and treated, many, many, many people. I also work 1 day a week at the Regional Cancer Center. I'm the acupuncture physician for Lee Health there. And my background, how do I fit in? I guess through just experience and studying the effects of cancer and treating patients with cancer has given me a lot of information about how to help people with cancer. And I always think about the cancer. Nobody wants cancer. Nobody wants high blood pressure, heart disease, and all these other issues. And I always think of this whole thing as like safe driving. If you're driving safe, you don't get into a car accident. If you wait till after you're in a car accident, then it's much more difficult to recover and deal with the problem. So same with cancer. If you wait till you get cancer, then we can help with it with things we do. But I think it's always better to have a safe lifestyle so that you don't get there.
What kinds of things specifically do you do with your patients who are going through traditional cancer therapies?
Traditional cancer therapies such as radiation and chemotherapy and some of the things they do are, can be quite toxic. And so we do it when they're being treated for cancer. We can help deal with the burns radiation. We have herbs that can help deal with the radioactivity in the body. And we have herbs that can help with the chemo. We have to be careful not to give them at the same time because you want the chemo to work. But and we have acupuncture can help. There's the whole body. It's chemical. It's physical, but it's also like they say, we said, we're emotional creatures, and the chemistry that's going on in your brain creates the chemistry in your body. Whatever you're thinking becomes part of you. So we work on anxiety and stress relief and that sort of thing. Anybody that has cancer is going through a huge stress.
Right. Can you give us a little more insight into the blood chemistry aspect of thinking and feeling?
I always describe it this way. I use fear as an example because everyone's felt that fear. They felt shaky after a close call. That's the adrenaline that got pumped into your system, and it has taken the resources away from your internal organs and pushed them to your muscles. And you're clear-headed, but very simple for simple things, but you couldn't maybe do calculus at that point in time because your resources got pulled away into your body to fight or flight. And so that's an example of your blood chemistry changing from something that you felt. But I always teach people to do a meditation that you can do to help switch your chemistry back to a better, more favorable place. So it's just a simple thing that you can do every day. And if you come to the booth later on, I'll show you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And I just want to emphasize this one. We heard stress as a big cause. We heard emotion as a big cause. We're hearing that there's a physiological aspect to that when people feel something, an emotion creates a chemical that bathes your body tissues. And so getting the stress under control really is a very big deal in the whole of cancer treatment or any immune disease. When you're in stress, when your adrenaline is high or your cortisol is high, your immune system is compromised. Okay, so, all right. Vicki, so how does your background get you up here and the motivations that get you up here to help on this panel?
Okay. Well, the combination of education and 40 years experience has put me in this chair right now. I've worked up in New York with many people, with several health professionals who we use dietary intervention for many diseases such as cancer, IBS, autoimmune diseases, and I also worked with autistic children who we saw tremendous benefits in learning and behavior with just a change in diet. My best asset that I have in my life is I grew up in a healthy household. We ate organic foods, fresh foods. I never saw a bag of potato chips or a soda pop. And when I had my own family, that's what I did. I fed them natural foods. I had an organic garden, and it's always been, that's where my path has led me in my career, to being a food consultant. And so I left New York and came down to Florida, continued doing what I was doing, and I continued with private consultations by phone. But I found myself 6 years ago at Lotus Blossom Clinic. And since then, I've been working with Dr. David and Deb, and working with food as medicine, and received a certification in conquering any disease. And we used the protocol from that book for cancer. I use that plus all my other research and knowledge that I've accumulated over the years. I believe that food is very important to our health. We can prevent cancer, and if you have cancer, we can help you. There is something, I always tell the little quick story about the blue zones in the world, in case you haven't heard of them. They're villages where people live till over 100 years old and 120 years old, and you look at the food they eat. They don't eat a lot of food. We eat a lot of food, too much in this country, first of all. But they eat olives and beans and lots of fruits and vegetables, a little wine, olive oil, and they're healthy. They walk, and more than anything, they do have a belief in something, whether it be their family, their village, or God, and that gives them spirituality and makes for a happy life. So I believe the combination of good, healthy food and your spirituality, your emotional balance is what's going to keep you free of cancer and other diseases. And I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome, Vicki. All right, very good, thanks. So I think we're getting into this now. Let's find out what these panelists think is something that's a critically important piece for people to understand, something that you think it's so important and so many people just may not realize how important it is, how this would help them to potentially heal or prevent disease. Amy?
I love this question, and we've all been kind of building on it in different ways. I think to prevent any disease and to heal from any disease, it's really important for people to know that they get to participate in this. Their mind is a powerful tool that most people aren't aware of how powerful it really is. And when you can really visualize and believe that you're going to be well, what happens physiologically is just, it's just incredible. There's no words to really put in to describe it. So I think believing and knowing first that you really can participate in your healing is something that I think is vital for people to know to really become well. And then believing that they will be well. They have to really believe it and then allow the people that are helping them to really support them through it. So I think it's just vital that they know they can participate.
Yes, absolutely. It's a participatory sport.
Yes.
You know,
But then
this
they're
whole
not
life thing.
alone. And when you find good people that can support them, it's a win-win for them. They can come away with it being well.
Good. So when you're working with people, how do you usually start it out, and do you meet weekly? What does the process look like?
Yeah, I always meet weekly to start out with anybody that's new, because part of it's building that relationship. It's also knowing that a week is a good amount of time to see if somebody can follow through, or if they run into challenges, that they're not getting off track too fast and they can get them on track and keep them on track. I always start by creating a vision for what they really want. That's the very beginning, is what is it you really want? That's the very first question I ask anybody. What do you want? And we really delve into what is it they're trying to create in their health or their life. What is it they want? And they've got to be able to give some specifics. What do you see it looking like? And then we go from there about what isn't going well, where they stuck, what challenges they're having. And it just kind of builds, the conversation builds from there to really delve into where can we start to make those changes, to create that life that you really want and the health you really want.
Great, and I just want to say that you really did create that life. Amy has a farm, and she'll tell you probably toward the end of this a little bit about that farm, and it will have something to do with the special offer that she has.
Yes, thank you. I would love the opportunity to share what I'm creating, and it really is from this mindset of this journey I've been on, and really creating what I want out there, and it's happening,
And it's beautiful.
it's continuing to happen. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome. So, Mr. James, what is it that you really wish people would know? Something that's very powerful, and you think maybe they don't understand it too well.
Well, I can sum that up in one word: ditto. I mean, everything you just said as far as the emotions, first of all, having a vision of what the future is, you've got to first realize that you have something to live for. And so in our clinic that we have, again, working on both aspects, both sides of it, if you don't give someone hope, or if they don't have hope, then there's nothing I feel like I can do. My hands are tied. If someone does not have a desire to live, then there's really no direction. So what you say, yeah, I would say go visit her farm, and just, I mean, get a new lease on life. Live for something. If you don't have something to live for, then it doesn't, then your life is, in a sense, over with. So a process that we like to, or Stephanie, not we, it's called emotion code. And again, just to touch on that, it seems to be the quickest way to get to the point, because talk therapy is great. I think it works wonderful. But however, when you're talking to someone, you're dealing on a conscious level, whereas to get down to the subconscious level, you need some tools, and emotion code is one of those tools that helps to dive into the subconscious, because it uses a technique that we use as muscle testing, or kinesiology. If y'all haven't heard about that, I suggest you research it. I mean, it just goes straight to the subconscious level, brings it up, and a lot of times simply identifying it is huge. When I bring the idea that, okay, wait a minute, because through our software we can test a will to live, or if you feel like you deserve to live. So from the emotional aspect, that's the direction we would go in. From that side of it is working with the emotions and bringing the subconscious to the conscious, and then giving them a new lease on life.
Wow, yeah. So some powerful things, similar but yet different. So both of you really cover things in a different way, but this is what holistic is about, and this is why we're up here. Thank you. Okay, Dr. David, what is it that you wish people knew about cancer? Something they may not understand, but it's really so critical.
In Chinese medicine, we think of cancer as a failure of your immune system, essentially. Our Chinese director of our school, he would always say that cancer is, your body has suffered too many abuses, and finally it starts to get cancer. So it considers like an abuse, like smoking, eating the wrong foods, having a lifestyle that's toxic to your body, and you expose your body over and over to these things, emotions that have become toxic to your body, from stress to hatred to anger to resentment. They are essentially an insult to your cells, and your cells rebel, is the way you would talk about it. In our clinic, every visit is a prevention visit. Even if you already have cancer, we work on prevention so you don't get another kind of cancer or another kind of problem. So we focus on prevention and what you can do to change things. Of course, it's harder if you're already sick. Then you have to really, really be dedicated to getting better. And if you're not, you should still be dedicated to making sure you never have a problem. It's because there's a lot more diseases than just cancer out there that you could ward off. So what should people know? I have a little poem I use. It's the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, the thoughts you think. And they all change in Chinese medicine, what we call your qi inside you. Of course, the air you breathe changes things very fast. It's the fastest way into your body. But people say, oh, I've been breathing all my life. I've got this down. But there's techniques to reoxygenate your body, get a lot of oxygen in your body. It's something simple. It's home. You can do it at home. It's free. But there's techniques we teach at the clinic, or you can go online and learn some of these things. The water you drink, I tell people, make sure you're not drinking toxic water. I'm glad we don't have Ebola in our water, but you want to filter that chlorine out before you drink it too, because it's there to kill living creatures, and you're a living creature. And so the food you eat, we do a lot of our clinic about food. We have classes and ongoing things, and Vicki can tell you more about that. And the thoughts you think, which we covered, the things you're thinking can make your body toxic. So, and people often don't think that what they're thinking is that important, but it's hugely important. And we can go on a long time about that, but I think that answered the question.
Yeah, I think so. What we're looking at here is some things that you can actually work with. So in your own body, the air that you breathe, and that includes exercise, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So walking, playing tennis, whatever it is that you're doing, the air that you breathe, the
water you drink.
The water you drink, right? The air you breathe, the water you drink, the thoughts you
Food you
the
eat.
food you eat, the thoughts you think, right? So these things are all within our grasp to make a change with, and certainly things that Amy, for example, could help you with as well, and would be part of dealing with anything that someone is working through with a health challenge. So let's see, what else? I did want to ask you about, do you work with patients who are just interested in working through their cancer without traditional Western therapies?
I do have patients that do that. And we have treatments and acupuncture for helping through that, as well as treatments and acupuncture for helping people deal with the side effects of chemo and radiation and the cancer treatments.
Okay, so you really are presenting a very integrative approach, and we support people at the clinic. I see you do this all the time. You support someone where they are because your belief systems are incredibly important in how well you're going to heal, and everyone's cancer or whatever is a unique thing that's going on in their body. So we support people where they are, and you're fully tooled to do that. Very good. So Vicki, all right, what do you wish people knew about cancer?
The first thing I would say is a saying that we all know: you are what you eat. It's really corny, but it is so true. I want to teach people how to eat healthy and prevent diseases like cancer, autoimmune diseases, etc. And that's what I do at the clinic. I have private consultations. I work with Dr. David, and we work with, again, people who are on chemo and radiation, and also people who want to have a more holistic dietary approach to their disease. We teach them how to avoid certain foods, like sugar, processed foods. If you have cancer, there's quite a few avoid foods. But there are also many foods that are good for you if you're fighting cancer or want to prevent cancer. One is mushrooms, my favorite food, which I eat several times a week. Mushrooms have an amazing boosting of the immune system. We don't eat enough of them. And, you know, if you have cancer, my cancer patients, our cancer patients, we recommend mushroom supplements because cancer is about the immune system and keeping it strong. And mushrooms have been proven to do that. In Johns Hopkins University, I don't have all the research yet, but they are working with even chemo and mushrooms and easing the effects of chemo and boosting the immune system. And I'm happy to see that health professionals are looking into a more natural way instead of, you know, everything is medication. Detoxing foods are very important. We talk about the air we breathe, which is full of toxins. We talk about the food we eat, which is full of toxins, highly processed, with gases and so many things that we just don't even know. So this poor body and this poor liver is working so hard to detox these toxins out of the body that we can give it a little help with food. Foods like avocados, asparagus, broccoli, artichokes. This will all help you detox your liver, not just for cancer patients, but for everybody. So it's important that we do incorporate some of these foods in our diet. Like I eat an avocado every day, and so does Dr. David and Deb. Yeah. Okay. The other thing that we keep an eye on is we want our bodies to be alkaline and not acidic. So if we want to be alkaline, we have to eat a lot of antioxidant foods like fruits and vegetables. And cucumber is the #1 alkalizing food there is. So we eat lots of cucumbers. So we don't want to be acidic. If we could stay away from the soda pops and the processed foods and too much meat, we won't be acidic. Cancer loves an acid body, so we don't want to be acidic. And what we do when we have a client, we do a pH test. It's a saliva test, and to see. That tells us about where their diet is, really. If they're acidic, we know work needs to be done. If they're alkaline, we smile. And we do have that test available with us today for free. We're happy to test your saliva and let you know where you are. And from there, that's when we put a diet together, structure a diet. There's a lot more I can talk about on cancer. There's fasting things, there's emotions, but this panel is just not long enough. So I will pass it back to you, Deb.
Okay, so basically, I think what I've heard you say is that you work with Dr. David. So if a patient of Dr. David's comes in, or someone here today saying, I really want to work with you, how does that process work? David, you can answer this question too, since you've got the mic. How does this process work? So let's say that the gentleman in the back here wants to come and have a discussion and learn about food as medicine. How does that work?
Well, the patient can come and see me for a free consultation, and we get together and make a plan for maybe with food. We meet with Vicki, and she gets more data and does coaching and works with them. And we both check and make sure it's following my guideline, that, you know, because I can recommend things. With my license, I can do that.
Yes. You know, I'd just like to say I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't want to be. They do their work, and they do wonderful work. But what we do is different. We have certain protocols for diseases, and they're not on the pyramid that they dietitians recommend. So I just want to make that clear. We use a more holistic approach.
Right, right. Because it's so integral to a person's health that as a doctor, you're very concerned to make certain that they're providing a foundation for their health.
Right. Then Vicki and I would meet and work together to make a good plan.
Okay, very good.
Can I just add something?
Yes.
I just want to say, in your food as medicine class that they all do together, I've gone to it twice. That's a fabulous way to just come and see how they really include the food as medicine to all kinds of populations. So I mean, it's very enjoyable. They feed you. You get to eat all the things while you're there, and you learn a ton. I mean, I've been in health and wellness for over 30 years, and I learned new things when I was there. So they're keeping up on new data.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we're always
that's
learning.
a fabulous class. I highly recommend it.
We love the fact that Western medicine and Western science is now validating the reasons why, for example, medicinal mushrooms are so important in cancer. There's research out there now that supports this, but the Chinese have known this for thousands of years. Okay.
And you can get them in your dark chocolates.
And, oh, yes, yes. We
So
do
you get 'em in
have
chocolate.
medicinal grade dark chocolate at the clinic. And yeah, there's a bunch of interesting things. So many foods have properties that we're just commonly not aware of. And dark chocolate has many of them, including anti-inflammatory conditions that they can help. And there's something that blocks the angiogenesis. In chocolate, there's an enzyme that blocks the creation of blood vessels to feed tumors. There are many foods that actually have this. Vicki wants to talk.
Yes. Yeah, I have something I'd like to say. You have to keep up on the research. There's constant research coming out. The FDA came out with a statement that said about a year ago that nitrates and nitrites will cause colon cancer. That's your bacon, your sausages, your deli meats. So, they're finding more things in our food supplies that is not healthy for us, and it's just, we keep on top of the research, and we bring it to the class, and we teach it, so you're all aware, because we want to educate everybody.
Great, thanks. Okay, I want to find out a little bit more about some people with whom you've worked, not necessarily names, but just a case study to help people understand. You started with a person with a certain situation and you moved them through it, and how did that work? And tell us all about it, Amy.
Well, and I can use her name because you don't know who she is. I didn't work with her that long, honestly, because she became well. And I think I was a small piece of that. She really did the work, and it really was what I was talking about earlier, is when I first met with her, I've already known her, so we've been friends, so I already had a relationship with her. But really, what I shared with her is that she was going to participate in her healing if she wanted to. And she really intentionally was in meditation and prayer every day, and she actually visualized the tumor shrinking in her abdomen and all those things that needed to happen. And she really kept her stress very low. She did all these things that would allow herself to be in the best environment for healing, and gave herself an opportunity for her body to really do what it's meant to do. She was not in a fighting mentality, which Dr. David had talked about, the fight and flight, because when we're in stress, our bodies are not relaxed. We can't heal. So she really was focused on wellness, and that was her whole mental thinking, was I am well, not I will be well, I am well. And she really visualized what it meant to her to be well and saw the tumor shrink. And she actually was scheduled for surgery, went in to have the surgery, and there was no tumor there. They didn't do the surgery. So, I mean, she really participated fully in her healing. And again, I have no other explanation for it besides that, because she didn't have the surgery and she no longer has cancer. So
Wow.
thank God for that. Yeah.
What other modalities, practitioners was she working with?
Well, she was going to have the surgery first, because again, she was a Western, she's seen a Western doctor, and the doctor we're going to cut it out, and then she was going to follow the treatment plan of chemo and radiation, and she didn't do any of it.
Wow. So
Yeah.
it sounds like she was a pretty educated client to
Yes.
begin with.
Yes.
And you were friends with her, and she was
Yes.
discussing that, and so you were able to just bring it into your environment with the coaching.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't very long that I even spent with her in that kind of space because she's well to this day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
I heard you say that
Yeah.
she was visualizing.
Mm-hmm.
And do you teach those sort of things, the visualization techniques?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have a specific one, but it really is, again, seeing it and believing that it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that you can see it's going to happen. You have to really believe that it's happening. And if there's a disconnect there, that's where the coaching can help you kind of get over that. If you're stuck there, which is where a lot of people are stuck, is they can't get to the believing that that's really going to happen. There's some doubt.
Okay.
So that would be an emotion for you, for Stephanie to help. Yeah, I mean, doubt or Dr. David to get through that, as well as coaching through it.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. James.
All righty then. And what's interesting is, of course, a personal testimony that I can share is our software actually goes through the testing process. And you had mentioned about bringing these emotions to the surface. We have one panel that actually talks about mental blocks to healing. And it probably has like maybe 60 or 70 different frequencies representing a particular question. And it's interesting, one of the questions is a desire or a will to live. And when we see that, it's like, okay, first of all, what we've done is taken it from the subconscious to the conscious. And that alone, I have seen just by identifying that. We had one client that she had ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And she could barely talk. I mean, her voice was already gone. She was walking with a walker and couldn't understand her. I had to have an interpreter literally to watch her motion her mouth. And when she came in, I said, well, step one, let's find out if you even want to get well. That's the first step. And when I brought that to the surface, within 24 hours, you could hear this. I mean, I could understand her clearly. And her eyes just lit up like, wow. Yes, first of all, never realized that I did not have a desire to live, or I felt guilty, or does anyone care that I even live? And so our software helps bring that to the surface and shows it to people where they can visualize it and see it. It's interesting that whole concept, because if you can't visualize it, then it's not there. I mean, it's hidden. And so that's one testimony that I can share. I apologize, didn't have anything to do with cancer in this particular case, but it was a dramatic change, just using the techniques that we use to help people understand and visualize what's going on.
I imagine you have worked with people who either had cancer or were just about to get cancer or something, that you were able to help with this as well. Anything more to add there?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Coach. You just brought back to my memory, you had a couple drive down from Sarasota, and I already knew what was going on and knew the reason why they were coming. And so we chatted a while, my wife and I did, with them. And then I said, okay, what's going on? And both of them just immediately started crying. I mean, just broke down and was just crying. And I had spoken to her. She was very healthy. We did a full questionnaire. And as far as physical symptoms, she had none. But her doctor told her, we're noticing you have a difficult time in absorbing your minerals. So we think that you have myeloma cancer. And when she started telling her story, she immediately broke down and started, she couldn't handle it. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, you're supposed to get your results when? She said, next Wednesday. I said, well, then why don't you live until then? Why are you so concerned about it now? Because we went to an alternative conference for cancer 4 years ago, and the common thread was a quote that all of these alternative oncologists said, is that cancer metastasizes in the body the minute a doctor tells you you have cancer. So, if she had cancer, she went away and was whole, because all of a sudden now I gave her hope to believe that, wait a minute, don't start your funeral arrangements now. Live, enjoy life. To me, you're very healthy. And so I don't know if that answers the
Yeah,
question as far
yeah.
as working with people with cancer, but I mean, just dealing with the junk, as my wife would say it.
Okay. I'm curious, when she went to the doctor or got the results a week later, do you know what happened?
The results were cancer-free.
Wow. Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows? And in a personal testimony of mine, my PSA scores went from, I think, 2 to 8. And the first thing my doctor said was, well, you've got cancer. You need to go see a urologist. You need to get a biopsy. And I spent 48 hours in literal hell in my mind, thinking, oh my God, I've got cancer. And finally, and maybe this will help someone, but what I did is I had a presence of mind to turn and to look for a different answer. And so the first thing I did is went online and looked at what Dr. Mercola had to say about cancer, or you could go to Dr. David or anyone on the panel. And it literally switched my brain from fear to, wait a minute, it's the slowest growing cancer ever. 80% of all men that die has prostate cancer. And so it was just eliminating the fear.
But they didn't die from the prostate
They
cancer.
did not
'cause
die
it's
from the
so
prostate
slow, right?
cancer. It was just from an autopsy that, oh, by the way, this is what you have. So the fear alone. So that's a personal testimony that I had with that. And ever since then, my PSA scores have dropped and dropped and dropped. And every time the doctor says, you got cancer, you need to go see a urologist. I said, wait a minute, check the records a year ago. Oh, I do see an improvement. The next year for my physical, same thing. Went from 8.5 to 8 to 7.5 to 7. And every time they're saying, you got cancer. Finally, this last time, the doctor finally said, you know what? You have a prostate of a 57-year-old man. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, one of the things that I think often is cancer is not an immediate death threat. It gives you time to deal with it. Now, not that there are not some fast-growing tumors and things that do happen, but in general, wouldn't you agree, Dr. David, that this is not something that you need to be in total fear about? And what does that do to the immune system, being in total fear?
Well, I think he said it. Total fear creates this body chemistry that allows the cancer to grow. So fear is your enemy here.
Can I say something else? 30 seconds. I'm sorry. 30 seconds. Had a great friend of ours, and she went to the doctor because she was having a problem in her uterus. And the doctor did a full MRI and discovered that there was a shadow, not a spot, but a shadow in her lungs. And the doctor said, we've got to take a biopsy. I fear you have cancer. They did a biopsy. The results came back negative. And the doctor told her, said, I'm confident you have cancer, and I'm determined to find it. 6 weeks later, we buried her. Her lungs were so inundated with cancer that they didn't even have time to start chemotherapy.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So we could go into that from a lot of different perspectives. I think you guys can get the drift. And of course, every case is going to be its own unique case. And the Western medical profession is required in many of these cases as well. So it's an integrative approach that we do recommend, and then have people make their own decisions about what form of treatment makes the most sense to them. Anything more you'd say on that, Dr. David? And then tell us about an example or two with whom you've worked.
Well, cancer is not something to make light of, for sure. I mean, it actually is taking over the number one spot of what kills us. 22 states now, cancer is the main killer. And heart disease used to be the main killer, but it's losing. What the research shows is that the heart disease is actually, we're getting better at keeping people alive, and that doesn't kill them quite so fast. But the death rates of cancer haven't changed much. We're still losing people to that, and a lot more people are getting cancer. So just keep in mind it's serious, but you need to not panic and don't let this emotional thing take over your life.
Very good. And so tell us about a patient or two with whom you have worked.
Let's see. My first one I wanted to talk about was Loretta. She was a janitor. We met her at Halloween. We were working at the school district and, just showing, talking to people about the clinic. And she was just this full of life, happy person that just a joy to be around. But she had cancer, and so she went and did the Western treatment, and we worked with her to help her change things, and she got better, and that cancer went away. And later on, she ended up getting another cancer that was caused by the radiation therapy that she got, and only people with radiation treatments get that cancer, so it was pretty much tied. That was a much tougher ordeal. We worked through that, and then we had to deal with the radiation burns and the issue. And so, she had to have a breast removed and big scars, and we dealt with a lot of problems. It got infected, and then we had to work on our immune system to make her stronger. And the burned skin wouldn't peel and wouldn't seal back together very well. But she's doing great now after she got through that. And the Chinese medicine and the treatment and the food really helped her. Another person is a teacher. You can see her on our website. She did a little video for us about cancer, and so she talks about how we helped her with hers. And lastly, another person. The last person was a nurse who had a salivary cancer, and she ended up losing, part of her jaw and part of her teeth in there, and she lost feeling in the side and of her face, and so she had, with radiation treatment, burned her. And so she lost nerve control, and so she used to drool. And we had a herbal combination of mushrooms that really helped her get her nerves working again. And so it was after they told her, well, forget it, it's going to be this way. But then we got her on the herbs, and she was able to get her feeling back. And I thought, well, she was a nurse, an emergency room nurse, and drooling is probably a bad thing if you're an emergency room nurse when you walk into a patient to help them. But she said the biggest thing for her was that she was able to feel her children kiss her cheek again.
Yeah.
So everybody's priority is different, but she had a pretty good result, and she's been in a patient for a long time, coming in now and then for stress and other things, but not for that anymore.
Okay, so specifically, David, can you tell us when someone is going through cancer therapies, cancer treatments, I've heard a few things, but just to give us kind of a list of what are the side effects with which you adjunctively help, particularly when you're working at the Lee Cancer Center?
Well, I've helped with just about all of them, from the anxiety and the stress and the pain, because pain is a huge thing that people forget about with cancer. If someone has something like bone cancer, they can't sit, they can't lay down, they can't do anything without pain. So we help with the pain, we help with the radiation burns and the scarring that can come from that, and of course the helping detox from the chemo. And so there's a variety. I think every symptom, because Chinese medicine is a natural medicine. It covers a wide range of everything. So.
Okay, so also I think that I've heard you talk about chemo brain. So that and neuropathy are a couple of
Right.
other things that come to mind.
Yeah, we do treat a lot of neuropathy. It's one of the main features of chemo. People just lose feeling in their feet or hands, and it's really doesn't sound very bad. But if you can't feel the floor, it's hard to walk. You can't close your eyes because you might fall over because you can't feel where you're at, and you may not be able to button your shirt. So we treat a lot of that. And chemo brain, of course, it's just that you forget everything. People that have that, they need to be mostly detoxing, and we can help that with both acupuncture and some of our food protocols.
Okay, very good, thank you. So Vicki, tell us about someone that you have worked with.
Yes, well, I have someone who has she chose not to take the Western approach and get radiation and chemo. She came to us about 2.5 years ago, and Dr. David and I work with her. She gets acupuncture, and she's on the cancer protocol. She came and she had metastasized cancer. It was in the bladder, and that was taken care of right before she came to us. But the cancer metastasized into the lung and the kidney 2.5 years ago. So she knew that she did not want chemo and radiation, so the alternative was a holistic approach. Put her on the food protocol. She saw me once a week for a long time. Now she comes down, she drives from Orlando to see Dr. David and me on a regular basis. There's no new cancer. The cancer is still there, but there's no new cancer. It hasn't disappeared. Her doctor says, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. And what she's doing is the food protocol and lots of mushroom supplements. She takes mushroom supplements for the lung, for the kidneys, for the bladder, and she stays on a good cancer protocol, which is like no sugar or grains. Not an easy thing, but I told her, if you want to live, you have to keep with it. She's in her 60s. She's traveling all over with her newly retired husband, having a good time. And I'm happy every time I see her. So that's one. And then there's one more client, friend of 15 years ago that was told she had lung cancer. They removed the lung. The cancer had spread. And they told her she had a 10% chance of survival. Such a negative thing. And I worked with her. This was 15 years ago. And she's still here.
15 years, wow.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, she's a very dear friend I have in North Carolina, and she is okay. So, I'm not saying that food is going to help everyone. I certainly think it's the path that, we should start off with, and then you can go from there. But I've seen success, and I've also have clients. We have a lot of cancer clients in the clinic. And we have them that recurring breast cancer, now it's spread to the lung, and now it's stage 4, and it's been chemo and radiation. We do the best we can. Dr. David helps with the side effects of chemo. And cancer patients need a lot of emotional support and a lot of positive attitude. Okay, I tell them, get up in the morning, look in that mirror, and you say, I am healthy. This is a beautiful day, and I am thankful and grateful that I am alive. And that emotional support we give them and a positive attitude is what helps them through the struggle, because this is a difficult disease. You want to say something?
I wanted to say something about that. The support. I tell people that you need a coach. That Tiger Woods has a coach. He knows a lot about golf, but he has a coach. And so it doesn't mean that you don't know a lot about something. You could know a lot about something and still need the support, a coach, someone. Yes, so someone that can help you through it, and someone that keep you honest, and someone that will give you new ideas and keep you going. Because it's easy to forget, and it's easy to slip, and it's really a powerful thing. It's a wonderful tool to have a coach to help you get through it.
It's so true, because I have clients that come in, and I don't do all that Amy does, for sure. She's wonderful. But my clients, after a while, we talk for a little bit about food, and the rest of it is about emotions, where they are in their life, where they're going, what they want. It's very important that people that are struggling have somebody that they can talk to, and they know that it's private, and somebody, that has experience in the field and that can help them. I love what I do, and I love when they come back and say, I feel wonderful, and or you saved my life. No, I didn't save your life. You saved your own life. It's not easy following these food protocols. You saved your own life. So that's what we do. That's what I do. This is what I've done all my life and will probably do till the day I die.
Awesome. And you know, I just want to reiterate that there's so many ways to heal. We have some amazing ideas and practices and practitioners represented up here. The Holistic Chamber has many, many more, some who are not in the Holistic Chamber. And learning yourself. Now, everything that you read on the internet is not always accurate. So I just want to say it's usually good to be working with someone who has knowledge in the practical field as well. So with that, I would like to ask if there are any questions out in the audience. Did we answer them all before you had a chance to ask them? I see one question, Barb. So how do you help yourselves be a better coach for someone else? Who would like to respond to that? Amy.
I honestly, for myself, I try to incorporate the techniques that I've learned myself, but I seek out other people, like these people on the panel and others that I've built relationships with in the Holistic Chamber for the same reason, to give me support and accountability and to encourage me and inspire me. Because I agree with Dr. David 100%. We all need a coach in our life. So whether you hire a coach or you have somebody that's going to support you and hold you accountable, and I would say Vicki does that with her clients. She gives them that support and accountability so they stay on track. So finding somebody in your circle of friends that's going to encourage you and inspire you. So I think everybody needs somebody that's going to do that for them so that we can do it for our clients. Because one of the first things I teach I work with mostly busy women as my main focus, is that they're used to taking care of everybody else. And it's been in their nature for sometimes 20, 30 years, taking care of everyone else. And when they finally can reframe and realize that if I take care of myself first, I can take care of everyone else I love so much better. So that's not always easy to do. So you have to find someone else that is going to help take care of you so that you can take care of the ones you love. So I seek out people that can do for me. I mean,
Can support you. Yeah.
yeah, and get treatments that are going to help me, whether it's, a coaching session, or it's going to food as medicine, or it's getting a massage. It's something that's going to nourish me so that I can stay in the shape that I want to be, not just physically, emotionally, and spiritually, that I can help people. Because if I don't do those things, I'm not really going to be able to show up in the way I want to.
Right, right. Put your own oxygen mask on
Exactly.
first.
Totally. I mean, that one phrase goes a long way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
James, do you have anything to add?
Just want to say quickly, there is an emotion called deserving. And you've got to first realize that you deserve someone to help you. Just want to throw that in.
Great, thank you. And David?
Well, Amy had hit on a topic. I think that it's kind of important to have someone that's maybe not in your circle be your coach, because they a trained person, so you know that it's confidential, so you know that it's not going to come back to you in any kind of way, and maybe less judgment, so that you don't have your family being knowing maybe something you don't want to know, or you don't ever know how things are going to turn in your world. So I think having a professional, someone that's been trained like Amy, is a very, very powerful thing. The way I tend to try and keep my edge and help people is just by taking as best care of myself as I can. It seems like a selfish thing, but it's the only smart thing to do. So.
My clients inspire me. And when they come to me and they say, my little son says I'm a different person this week since I've been coming here. Or when a client comes with blood work and says, look at my blood work, my lupus is indetectable. That inspires me, and that gives me joy. And if I have some clients with difficult cases and I feel drained, I get on the table and I get acupuncture. Okay, this is my physician. All right, for my stress, for when I'm overtired, acupuncture is wonderful. So that's how I take care of myself, and I do get massages, and I tell you, it's my clients. They just inspire me. I love them all.
Yeah, you know, it's so great when you're doing what is your joy, right? Yeah. And one of the things that we say before our classes is the most important thing that you might hear today is that if you have love, joy, and purpose in your life, that's going to trump it all. And when you have love, joy, and purpose in your life, then the food will be more active, because that love, joy, and purpose is the basis of all of our cellular memories and everything that happens within our system. Love, joy, and purpose drives us in whichever direction is for us. And we're looking at something positive that we're focusing on. So, good. Any other questions out there today? Okay. Well, let's just find out what these special people have as specials for you today. So, Amy is going to be able to meet you at her booth, which is right over here on the corner, after we wind up the presentation here. And Amy, what specials do you have?
Well, the most recent special that I have is I've created an opportunity for people to come out to the farm for a getaway, and I call it a Simply Natural Getaway, and it includes a group health and life coaching session, and then it's followed by yoga. It's all outside under the big oak tree, and it's very slow, meditative, calming yoga, so it's a very centering way of being outside. Can you hear me? Yes. And then we have a picnic lunch, which I make, and some of it will include some of the things that I have on my farm. And it's followed by some time with the animals, or to just walk around and sit by the pond or the creek or the gardens and just be still. And then we wrap it up kind of with a time of setting intentions for what it is you'd like to create new in your life. So that's called a Simply Natural Getaway. And I have one coming up in November on the 16th. So I am giving one of those away. So if you can't make it in November, you can use it for another one, because I'll be doing them once a month. And then I also have a cottage on the farm that we use as an Airbnb. So I'm giving away one night there, along with a dozen eggs.
Wow.
And if that's not enough, then I am giving away one session with me where we can just have a laser focus on creating a vision. So you can fill out a little sticky over there, put it in the pink bag there on my booth, and then I will be drawing those out.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. Everybody wants that, right? Okay. James.
Well, my wife told me specifically what to say here. She's the one who does the coaching, and she does the emotion code, and she sells the packages. Was $85 per session. That's what she charges. However, if you purchase 5, then the 6th session is free, and usually 5 to 6, 7, 8 different sessions is a good broad time to spend as far as working with the emotions. So that's what our special is buy 5, get 1 free of the emotion code session.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. David.
Our special is that if you fill out the form on our booth, we have a free acupuncture session.
Or live blood.
Or live blood session. That live blood is part of the functional medicine. We just take a little blood out of your finger and look at it under a microscope, and you get a chance to be educated about what your blood looks like and what's there.
Very good. All right. Thank you. Vicki.
I'm sure you guess what I'm giving away, a food consult. If you just want to fill out a strip with your name and your phone number, your email, we'll put it in a jar. I'll call it at the end of the day. If you're not here, I will call you and let you know. if you want. And the other thing is, we will do a pH test on your saliva if you really want to know if you're acidic or alkaline.
Good, okay. And so that would be calling into the clinic and making an appointment with Dr. David, and then Vicki joins in. Dr. David is the practice director. So, and Dr. David, are there some other things that you wanted them to know about some of the practices and modalities at the clinic?
We've just expanded the clinic, and now we've added movement medicine. So we have yoga, we have qigong, we have a whole variety of practitioners. I think there's 21 total. Some people are part-time, they just come in for now and then. But we have deep imagery, we have a nurse practitioner that's joining us. And so we have just about a wide variety of things. Massage therapists, many.
Many of those.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's, oh yes, one
Sorry,
more thing? Yes.
I just forgot one thing. I also have goat yoga starting in November. So if you are
Wow.
interested in finding out when it's starting, I just have a sheet there. You can just give me your name and your phone number or email, and I can contact you when I have the date and all the information on it. So that'll be mid-November.
Awesome, awesome.
Can you tell me more about the goat yoga?
Okay, so goat yoga is an experience. And my friend and neighbor, colleague are starting one in North Fort Myers. And we are all we're getting the Nigerian dwarf goats. So they're small. They're never going to get very big. But it really is a holistic experience of being outside in nature with the animals. We provide the mats, so don't bring your own nice mat. So that way, if something happens to the mat, it's not yours, it's ours. And it's really an experience just to be one with nature, and it's a full yoga class, so you don't even have to talk to the animals, but it's really special if you're with there and they can come up to you, and they will jump on your back if you want them to. If you don't want them to, we will not encourage them to. But they're just a bundle of joy. So
They are so playful. I
Yes.
have been to goat yoga a few times, and it is such an amazing, fun thing. Those little guys are so inventive.
yes, they are inventive.
Okay, so I think with that, I would like to call up the president of the Holistic Chamber, Ms. Lainey Savante Wilkin. Would you join us and talk about some of the upcoming events?
Thanks, everybody. Everyone enjoyed themselves here, learned a lot. Wonderful. So what I wanted to do is tell you that we have more steps in your awareness, your education, and we have lots of different opportunities to take advantage of what you learned here or to share with others, including something very special going on. Next June, we've been talking about this each month, but we especially seems like to hit home today. We are doing a 5-day immersion in Mexico. It's called the Ultimate Food Healing Retreat. It's put on by the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. Some of our panelists here today will be some of the speakers there, including who's coming is the founder herself of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce from Las Vegas. Camille Leon will be there. And it'll be a 5-day retreat in Mexico. Isla Mujeres. Anybody been there? No? It's off the coast of Cancun. It's an hour flight from where we are right now. And it's very easy to get there, and then a little ferry boat and you're in paradise. And we're going to spend 5 days talking about what we talked about today. We're going to talk about how to move our body, how to have emotional balance, how to eat well, and we're going to immerse ourselves in food healing classes and excursions and demos. So pick up a flyer for that. But the special today I wanted to mention is that one lucky winner is going to get a complimentary registration. We're having a raffle for it. $10, and actually it's a fundraiser for putting on the panels that we do here. The winner will be announced December 10th, and it's a almost $1,000 value, $995 if you're not a member of the HCC, and if you are, it's $795. One person is going to win one of the registrations to come to this retreat. So if you want to know more about that, you can ask any of us or back at the table, and I highly encourage you to attend that. Also, next month, I'm going to leave this for you, Deb. You could talk about that. And also, in April is our annual Adventures in Wellness Fair. You all have a book. If you don't, please pick up one of these directories. This has everything I'm talking about, everything going on in our chamber, every event, every panel, all the fairs. And we highly encourage you to come to our fair in April at the Fort Myers Bell Tower, Crown Plaza, thank you. And it is going to be an extension of what we're doing here today. We will have 4 panels there, including a food healing for the body temple. So if you like what you heard today, we're going to have one more similar to this, as well as several others. And it's an entire day of meeting many, many of our members. And you get to try some of their experiences, learn more from them, get all their special offers, and spend a whole day. Most people did last year. They spent the whole day and just kept walking around, went to a panel, went to a food demo. Highly encourage you. So all that information's back at our table. And I think that's it as far as my announcements. Please pick up one of these flyers. These are all of our monthly panels for next year. And I think that's it.
Very good.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Deb.
Well, we will be meeting here, and thank you, Lainey. We will be meeting here at Unity of Fort Myers again on November 23rd. So it's always the 4th Saturday. We're skipping December for an obvious reason. But it's always the 4th Saturday of the month at 2 o'clock. And the panel next time is optimizing your energy. So you can pick up one of these orange banded flyers about that. You will see Amy again, and she'll be talking more specifically about the energetics that she works with her patient or clients to be able to improve. And Maggie Kyle Petrates, she's an artist, author, and a transformations coach. Gina Durichin, artistic edible landscaping. She's working with the school system now, helping kids understand and learn more about growing food. And Lucille Trice, who is a health consultant, Radiance Holistic Wellness, and also a nurse. So she knows a lot about the physicality of the body. So this is going to be another great one here on November 23rd. So with that, I say, let's go to the booths. Who's going to win the eggs? Who's going to win the da? All right, thank you.